went to pick up my 3-year-old son from preschool, only to encounter a mentally ill person taking revenge on society, wielding a knife and slashing indiscriminately. To protect my son, I was stabbed more than a dozen times and fell into a pool of blood. Lucas sent the attacker to the police station and hired the best medical team to rescue us. Before entering the operating room, I anxiously asked how my son was. But he, with tears in his eyes, told me that my son had lost too much blood and died on the way. I fainted from grief, forgetting to mention my immunity to anesthesia. Just as I regained consciousness, I overheard Lucas's conversation with the doctor. "Mr. Lucas, the child could have been saved. Why did you give up on the rescue? He was your own son, only 3 years old. I never intended for him to live. His birth was a mistake." And he dared to ask me for a birthday present. Was he trying to vie for the company's inheritance? Wendy and my son will be 18 soon. I promised her I would give the company to our son as a coming-of-age gift, and I will never let anyone compete with him. It turned out that the marriage I thought was happy was just a living hell. In that case, I'll fulfill their wishes. The doctor glanced at my bloodied abdomen, stabbed beyond recognition, and sighed. I just checked. Fortunately, despite the severity of Mrs. Liu's injuries, her uterus can still be saved. She may have a chance to be a mother again in the future. Who authorized you to save her uterus? Remove it immediately, so she can never conceive again. The doctor widened his eyes in shock and exclaimed, "Mr. Lucas, you will be handing over the company to Wendy's son in 3 days. Even if Mrs. Liu becomes pregnant in the future, it won't hinder anything. She just lost her child. Do you have to go to such extremes by removing her uterus?" Lucas gently stroked my face, but the words he spoke were utterly ruthless. Letting her give birth to that bastard was my big just mistake. I never expected that the little bastard would dare to ask me for a birthday present. He must be trying to vie for the company's inheritance. I swore to Wendy that I wouldn't let anyone compete with our child for the family fortune, even though she married someone else back then. I must help them eliminate future troubles forever. The door of the operating room was knocked, and a man's frivolous voice was jarringly loud in the silent operating room. "Mr. Lucas, thank you for helping me forge a psychiatric evaluation, allowing me to be acquitted. I have already helped you kill that little brat. So, about the reward you promised. I will have 5 million transferred to your account. Take the money and get out of Metropolis, and never appear in front of Stella again. All right, hurry up with the surgery. I still have to accompany Wendy to pick up the gift I ordered for Tommy Jr. Oh, and remember to give Stella plenty of anesthesia, don't let her be in pain." As the footsteps faded away, I closed my eyes tightly and bit through my teeth, not letting the tears fall. It turned out that the person wasn't mentally ill at all. He was a hitman my husband had hired to reassure the woman he loved. My Tommy, only 3 years old, died on his birthday because of trumped-up charges, in a murder carefully planned by his own father. My body is immune to anesthesia, and the cold instrument stirred inside my body, as if tearing me apart. I fainted from the pain. When I opened my eyes again, Lucas was looking at me with red eyes, his voice full of heartache. "Stella, you're finally awake. Are you still in pain? I've been waiting outside the operating room. You don't know how scared I was. Losing Tommy has been the pain of my life. If anything happened to you, I wouldn't want to live either. Stella, the doctor said that your abdomen was stabbed too severely, damaging your uterus. You can't have children anymore, but don't worry, I will take care of you for the rest of my life. Being child-free is fine too." I looked down at my abdomen. The wound was stitched up well, but the empty feeling inside reminded me that I had lost the right to be a mother forever. "Where's Tommy?" I asked blankly. Lucas said guiltily, "He's already been sent to the funeral home for cremation. The funeral is tomorrow." "Stella, I'm sorry. I, as his father, didn't protect our child." My heart ached, but I didn't expose his lies. Looking at the bedside table, in an exquisite box, was a good luck charm. "Lucas, today is Tommy's birthday. We haven't bought a gift for the child yet. Let this good luck charm be with him, hoping he lives a long and healthy life in the next life, okay?" Lucas frowned almost imperceptibly, and said gently, "Stella, a friend asked me to help him buy this for his child. How can we take what belongs to others? This is for the living. Tommy won't need it, he'll be sad. Besides, this material isn't worth much, it's not worthy of our Tommy. I've already asked people to buy a lot of funeral supplies, and we'll burn them all for him. He won't be wronged in the afterlife. I didn't say anything, my heart was filled with sorrow. After being a housewife for so long, Lucas had forgotten that I was once a discerning appraiser in the jewelry industry. The material used for that good luck charm was the most expensive variety of jade, priceless. The style was exquisite, engraved with the words peace year after year, carrying the parents' boundless love. For 2 whole months, I had secretly seen Lucas bury himself in the study, designing the pattern of the good luck charm little by little. I always thought it was the birthday gift he wanted to give Tommy. It turned out that in his heart, the ones who were truly unworthy were our mother and son. At my strong request, Lucas helped me with the discharge procedures and took me home. He refused the nanny's help, took the initiative to wipe my body and wash my hair, carefully avoiding the wound in my abdomen. He even insisted on drying my hair himself, showing the utmost care as a husband. I used to be moved by his gentleness, but looking at the hideous wound on my abdomen, thinking of Tommy's tragic death, I only felt desolate and numb in my heart. Late at night, while Lucas was asleep, I came to the study and logged into his cloud drive on the computer. The password was Wendy's birthday. Inside were tens of thousands of photos and videos, documenting everything from Wendy's pregnancy to their child's birth and growth to the present. In addition, there was a prepared share transfer agreement. In 15 years of marriage, Lucas spent most of his time on business trips every year, claiming to be developing the market, but in reality, he was accompanying Wendy and her son. It's ridiculous that I never suspected it. The WhatsApp in the lower right corner of the computer hadn't been logged out. Clicking on it, the loving family of 3 chat group pinned to the top pierced my eyes. Over the past 18 years, Lucas had given Wendy and their child countless expensive gifts. Lucas, Tommy is still just born, how can he drive a Rolls-Royce? You're just spoiling him. By the way, I love the sapphire necklace, mwah. Lucas, Tommy is 3 years old today. The island you gave him has such beautiful scenery. You'll be there this afternoon, right? Tommy can't wait to see his dad. And I and Tommy had never received any of these affections. I gave up a promising career, married Lucas at the age of 20, and willingly became the woman behind him, accompanying him through thick and thin, damaging my health, and never being able to get pregnant. And he was indifferent to this matter. I originally thought he didn't want to put pressure on me, and I was grateful for his tolerance. In the 15th year of marriage, I finally became pregnant, but Lucas wasn't as happy as I had imagined, he just smiled symbolically. But seeing the photo of him kissing Wendy's pregnant belly, looking overjoyed, I realized that he had already had a child with someone else. And my Tommy, in his eyes, was like a sudden case of appendicitis, eager to be cut off. No wonder Lucas used work as an excuse to go abroad every year on Tommy's birthday. Because Tommy's birthday was only 3 days away from their child's birthday, he had to go there in advance to prepare, fearing that his darlings would be wronged. I logged out of the page dejectedly and called my best friend abroad. I'm willing to work as a jewelry appraiser at your company. See you in 3 days. In addition, I also asked her to help me with some things. After doing all this, I came to Tommy's room. It was still the same arrangement, the pillow still had the unique milky scent of the child, but Tommy would never come back. I found a wishing bottle under the pillow, inside were the birthday wishes that the teacher had written for Tommy. The teacher said that a man should be brave, so this year I finally plucked up the courage to ask my dad for a birthday present, but before I could finish speaking, my dad walked away angrily. Actually, I just hope that my dad can be with me for an hour on my birthday, even 30 minutes is fine, and I will be very, very happy. Tears welled up in my eyes. Lucas, is this what you call ambition? After printing out the divorce agreement, I hugged Tommy's quilt, smelled his scent, and cried all night. The next day, Lucas, regardless of his cleanliness, personally cleaned the oozing fluid from my wound, changed my dressing, and carefully wrapped it with gauze. The nanny looked envious, but my heart was like dead ashes. He saw my red and swollen eyes and felt sorry for me. Stella, I know you miss Tommy, I miss him even more than you do, but you always have to take care of your body. I've already lost my beloved child, and I can't lose you again. Why don't you rest at home today and leave Tommy's funeral to me? Leave it to you? Leave it to you. The murderer who killed his own son? I suppressed the sarcasm in my heart and said indifferently, no, I must send Tommy off on his last journey. When I arrived at the funeral, I saw Wendy and a teenager supporting my mother-in-law from afar, talking intimately and making her smile happily. In such a solemn occasion, everyone was dressed in black. But Wendy was wearing a red haute couture dress, and even the teenager was wearing a dazzling red suit. But my mother-in-law seemed not to see it, holding the two of them, her eyes full of love. Afraid that they were hot, she even had the servants next to her hold umbrellas for them, as if that was her daughter-in-law and grandson. Seeing me, Wendy curled her lips and said mockingly, "Aunt, I'm not hot. Stella is here. The sun is so strong, let's give her the umbrella. After all, she's not like me. Her child is dead, and she's injured, she needs to be taken care of." Hearing this, my mother-in-law looked at me, her expression disgusted and contemptuous. "Isn't it just the death of an ingrate? What's the big deal? Who are you trying to show by making your eyes like this? Pretending, not even caring about the Liu family's reputation. Even Wendy and Tommy Jr. are more sensible than you, afraid that this old woman is tired. They came as soon as they got off the plane, and they also gave me an expensive jade bracelet. They are much better than you, a heartless thing." My mother-in-law had always disliked me. She thought I was not worthy of Lucas. And because I didn't have children for more than 10 years, she cursed me as a hen that couldn't lay eggs. Later, when I had Tommy, she resented Tommy for protecting me everywhere, thinking he was an ingrate who turned his elbow outward. Lucas used to defend me a few times, but now his eyes were fixed on Wendy, his infatuated expression as if she was a rare treasure. Wendy smiled provocatively at me without showing any trace, and quickly helped my mother-in-law. "Aunt, you're old, why?" "Oh, you can't be angry. If you don't mind, Tommy Jr. will be your grandson in the future." My mother-in-law was immediately overjoyed and praised her for being sensible. Wendy led the teenager to me, smiling and saying, "Hello, long time no see, Stella. I'm really sorry, my son and I just came back from abroad and haven't had time to change our clothes." "You're so generous, you definitely won't be angry. Oh? By the way, this is my son, Lucas Jr. Lucas Jr.'s face resembled Lucas's by 5 or 6 points. He glanced at me with disgust and said arrogantly, "Aunt, you're really ugly." After saying that, he skillfully reached out to Lucas. "Dad, didn't you say that when my mom and I came back to the country, you would give us gifts? The day after tomorrow is my 18th birthday. Last year you only gave me 99 gifts, this year I want 100. Facing his humiliation of me, Lucas turned a deaf ear, touching his head helplessly and dotingly. "I know." After saying that, he took out the good luck charm and helped Lucas Jr. put it on, his expression loving. As if feeling that this was not enough, Lucas snapped his fingers, and more than a dozen brightly colored sports cars drove up outside the funeral home. "Here, Dad knows you like bright colors, I'll give you all of these." Wendy wrinkled her nose and hugged Lucas's arm, acting coquettishly. "Lucas, what about mine? You can't just favor your son." Lucas hooked her nose indulgently. "Of course I won't forget you." After saying that, 2 people came down from each car, holding more than 30 sets of jewelry, with various styles, materials, and styles. The only thing they had in common was that they were all valuable. One of them had even been worn by a concubine of a certain dynasty. Wendy happily kissed his cheek, looking as delicate as a girl. "Wow, aren't these the things from the European royal auction the day before yesterday? The cheapest set costs hundreds of millions, and you bought them all for me? Lucas, you still love us, mother and son, but you're spending so much. Stella won't be angry, right?" Tommy's funeral was turned into a luxury car and jewelry exhibition. And wearing an old-fashioned black suit, without makeup, with eyes swollen like walnuts, compared to Wendy, who was wrapped in bright clothes and exquisite makeup, I looked more and more like a ridiculous old woman. Not to mention that the things Lucas had given to Tommy over the years weren't even the tip of the iceberg of one of Lucas Jr.'s sports cars. Ridiculous, really ridiculous. Lucas then realized that I was still next to him and explained awkwardly, "Stella, Don't think too much, Wendy and Lucas Jr. are used to staying abroad, this was just a courtesy just now. You also heard that Mom recognized Lucas Jr. as her grandson, it's normal for him to call me Dad. The child is about to have his birthday, I just want to express my feelings. That lock is also. Before he could finish speaking, Wendy sprained her foot and fell into his arms, weakly, Lucas, I feel dizzy, I think I have heat stroke. Lucas immediately let go of me and quickly hugged her in his arms, concerned, how could this happen? I built a summer resort for you because I was afraid that you would get hot. It would be better for you to rest in the resort, why did you have to come to this broken place? Let's go, I'll take you to rest. After saying that, he ignored that Tommy's ashes had not been buried, and walked away with Wendy in his arms. I endured the ridicule of the people around me and picked up Tommy's urn alone. It doesn't matter, baby, if your dad doesn't love you, you still have your mom. But before I could put the urn into the grave, Lucas Jr. slammed me down, and the urn shattered, and Tommy's ashes were scattered on the ground. Aunt, are you blind? Why are you bumping into people? This suit of mine was bought for me by my dad, if the ashes of that short-lived ghost get it dirty, can you afford it? How unlucky. Not only was Lucas Jr. not guilty, but he even twisted the truth. He smiled and took out a mineral water bottle, full of cigarette butts. Aunt, don't say I don't pity you, just use this to hold your son's ashes. I didn't care to question him, hoping that my mother-in-law would help me buy another urn, I wanted to protect Tommy's ashes. But I didn't expect my mother-in-law to raise her eyebrows and say harshly, what are you looking at? If you weren't useless, would the box be broken? I think the mineral water bottle is fine, don't even think about me spending money on an ingrate. Okay. Bury him quickly, I still want to go back and play poker. Lucas Jr. kicked me away and had someone dump the ashes into a dirty mineral water bottle and throw it into the grave, and then had someone seal the grave. I clenched my fists angrily, how could they treat Tommy like this? I turned around and went to find Lucas, but I saw him and Wendy entangled in front of Tommy's chapel, their clothes disheveled. Lucas, Tommy Jr. is also growing up, he must be lonely. I want to have another child for you. Lucas hesitated, Wendy, over the years, in order not to be discovered by your husband, you have been secretly raising Tommy Jr. outside. I have already made you and your son separate, and you have suffered a lot of grievances. How can I hurt you again? And this is Tommy's chapel after all, we can't. Wendy reached out to his body, her voice charming, Lucas, for you, I am willing to suffer any grievance. He is away from home all year round, he won't find out. I haven't done it in the chapel before, don't you want to experience it? You've been tired these 2 days, I'll take good care of you. The veins on Lucas's forehead bulged, and he couldn't restrain himself anymore, lowering his head and kissing her. The scene became more and more unsightly, I trembled and recorded everything, turned around and ran out, collapsing in front of Tommy's tombstone. My whole body couldn't stop shaking, Lucas, Tommy's photos are hanging above your head, how dare you? Everyone had already dispersed, no one cared about me and my Tommy. I threw flowers into the bonfire while quietly shedding tears, feeling that these 15 years of marriage were a joke. The bonfire was suddenly kicked over, and sparks splashed on my hand, scalding me into a jolt. Wendy suddenly appeared, smiling like a victor. Stella, watching Lucas and I enjoy ourselves in front of your son's chapel, isn't it exciting? Even if you burn more flowers, your short-lived son won't come back. Originally, if you couldn't have children, I wouldn't bother with you, but you actually had a child with Lucas, no one can take a penny from my son. The Shin family's property belongs to our mother and son, and Lucas loves me the most. In order to reassure me, he is even willing to kill your son. It's embarrassing to be a woman to your extent. If I were you, I would kill myself now. I couldn't bear it anymore and stood up. Just as I raised my hand, Wendy suddenly fell down the stone steps. Before I could react, a big hand pushed me down violently and caught Wendy. Lucas hugged Wendy and looked up at me angrily. Stella, are you crazy? Who allowed you to attack Wendy? Before I could explain, Wendy said aggrievedly, "Lucas, I just wanted to comfort Stella," but she accused me of wearing a red dress on purpose to find fault with her, wanting to push me down and kill me, so I could be buried with Tommy, and also said that she would find a master to cast a spell to make Tommy a vengeful ghost to bite me to death. Woo-woo, I'm also very sad that Tommy is gone. I came as soon as I got off the plane. I was really just worried and confused, and didn't have time to change my clothes. Lucas, you know I'm timid, I'm really scared, woo-woo. Lucas's face darkened, and he looked at me angrily. It's your own bad luck that you encountered a mentally ill person, and you even implicated Tommy. Wendy was afraid that you would be sad and blame yourself, and came to comfort you out of good intentions. Even if you don't appreciate it, why did you push her? What's wrong with wearing red clothes? Wendy already said that she didn't mean it, maybe Tommy likes bright colors. Why are you so fussy? You even used Tommy to curse Wendy, you don't let your child rest in peace even after he's dead. Are you a cruel mother? I implicated Tommy? I'm fussy? I'm cruel? I cried and pointed to Tommy's tombstone and roared, "Lucas, you think I'm cruel, then are you clear of conscience? Do you dare to tell him in front of Tommy why he died? What kind of surgery did you have the doctor do to his mother?" Lucas frowned and said, "What are you shouting about? Of course it's because you didn't protect Tommy that he died tragically. As for that surgery, was I wrong to ask the doctor to save your life? Stella, I think you should really get your brain checked. Don't pretend to be crazy here," apologized to Wendy. Wendy hugged his neck, pretending to be weak. "Forget it, Lucas, although Stella wanted to harm me, she lost her child after all, let's be generous. My foot hurts so much, it must have been sprained just now. Take me to the hospital, okay?" Lucas looked at me with extreme disappointment and turned around and left without hesitation. Wendy raised her head and said to me silently, contemptuously and provocatively, "Waste." Watching their backs, I knew that I and Lucas were completely over. I bought a new urn and asked the cemetery staff to help me take out Tommy's ashes, carefully put them in, and then left holding them. Such a ridiculous funeral, my Tommy doesn't care. My Tommy doesn't need such a heartless father either. When I got home, I gave the nanny a long vacation. Lucas called me, "Stella, did you get home? Don't worry, Wendy's foot is fine. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said those things to you when you were sad. I didn't mean to. But the stone steps were so high, what if Wendy fell and something happened? What would Tommy Jr. do? We don't have any children anymore, I just can't bear to see Tommy Jr. lose his mother again. Tommy Jr. is a child, I'm just his godfather after all, and Wendy is my friend, it's right to take care of them, don't think too much." I said faintly, "I know, it doesn't matter, take good care of them. You're still the most considerate wife. Tommy always wanted to see the sea, didn't he? I've booked the tickets, we'll leave the day after tomorrow and take you to relax. Although Tommy is gone, we as parents have to fulfill our child's wishes. Wait for me to pick you up." All night long, Wendy kept sending me WhatsApp messages. In order to compensate her, and also to make Lucas Jr. happy, Lucas directly bought a private plane and took them to Las Vegas overnight for shopping. And my Tommy, in 3 years, couldn't get his father to take him to see the sea even once. Stella, what do you have to compare with me? Since I can't compare, then I won't compare. The next day, Lucas still didn't come back, but Wendy sent me more and more photos and videos, even videos of her and Lucas having sex with different tools. I didn't reply, just packed up all the things of me and Tommy and donated them. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, Lucas finally remembered me and sent a message, "Stella, sorry, something happened at the company, let the assistant pick you up at the airport first, I'll be there right away." But he didn't know that Wendy had sent me another video a minute ago. Today was Lucas Jr.'s birthday, and Lucas had booked the most luxurious hotel to hold his coming-of-age ceremony. In the picture, he was putting a pigeon egg-sized pink diamond necklace on Wendy's neck, kissing her forehead lightly. "Wendy, thank you for giving birth to such a good son for me. You are a hero of our family." I didn't reply, and after blacklisting him and Wendy, I put the divorce agreement in a USB drive into a file bag, found a courier and sent it to the Hot L After leaving Tommy's wish note on the table, I picked up Tommy's ashes, took one last look at the house where I had lived for more than 10 years, resolutely went out the door, and headed to the airport. Goodbye, Lucas. At the hotel, Lucas had just announced that he would make Lucas Jr. his heir and was about to sign the share transfer agreement. The assistant suddenly ran in with the file bag, his face pale, leaned into Lucas's ear, and said in a trembling voice, "Mr. Liu, something bad has happened. Mrs. Liu just boarded a flight to a foreign country. That flight crashed." The pen in Lucas's hand fell to the ground, and he looked at the assistant blankly, not reacting to what this meant for a moment. Wendy quickly picked up the pen and stuffed it into Lucas's hand. "Lucas, what's wrong? Sign it quickly, the guests are watching." But Lucas pushed her away, pulled the assistant to the side, and frowned and asked, "What nonsense are you talking about? I agreed to go out to see the sea with Stella. I haven't even arrived yet. How could she get on the plane alone? And he didn't tell Stella to go abroad." The assistant hurriedly handed him the file bag in his hand. "Mr. Liu, this was sent by the courier just now. It's from Mrs. Liu to you. Please take a look." Lucas quickly opened the bag and found a signed divorce agreement inside, and a USB drive. He stared incredulously at the column of the woman's name. Stella wanted to divorce him? Lucas subconsciously took out his phone and found that from just now until now, Stella had not replied to his messages. In 18 years of marriage, from a young boy to a middle-aged man, Stella had almost always replied to his messages in seconds. This was the first time this had happened. Lucas felt a little uneasy and quickly sent a message to Stella. "Stella, where are you? Why aren't you replying to me? Stella, what's going on with the divorce agreement? Today is not April Fool's Day, don't make such a joke." The next SE. Conned, his eyes widened at the sight of the red exclamation point. Stella had blocked him. He tried calling, but only heard the automated message indicating her phone was off, probably blocked as well. But why? A pang of unprecedented panic seized Lucas. He turned to leave, but Wendy grabbed his arm. "Lucas Jr.'s coming-of-age party isn't over yet. Didn't you say you were handing the company over to him today? Where are you going?" "Stella's plane crashed. I need to go check." Wendy glanced at the divorce papers and scoffed. "Stella wants a divorce? I underestimated her scheming. Isn't she just jealous that you defended me the other day? Using a fake death and divorce to threaten you, just to make you go to her? How low can she get? Today is Tommy Jr.'s coming-of-age party. Is she trying to bring bad luck to our Tommy Jr. just because her own son is dead?" Lucas Jr. snatched the cloud drive, a look of disdain on his face. "Dad, I've seen plenty of women like this. They pretend to break up or threaten suicide, then post melodramatic captions with crying selfies on social media, all to keep a man's attention. Playing hard to get, ugly people doing ugly things." Wendy chuckled. "Exactly. Our Tommy Jr. is so smart, he can spot a gold digger a mile away." Watching the mother and son laugh together, Lucas frowned. This was the second time Lucas Jr. had humiliated Stella. He thought it was just because the boy was young and outspoken. But Wendy was an adult. Instead of teaching her son the right values, she was enabling him. Was this how a mother should behave? Stella would never do that. Tommy had been raised with impeccable manners. A sudden wave of revulsion washed over Lucas. He looked at Wendy, and the infatuation he once felt was gone. He was about to speak when Lucas Jr., as if to prove his point, projected the contents of the cloud drive onto the large screen. There was only an audio file. Hearing the voice, Lucas's face turned ashen. I confess everything. It was Mr. Lucas who gave me $5 million to pretend to be mentally ill and stab Miss Stella and her son, preferably killing the little bastard, because he wanted to clear the way for his soon-to-be adult son with Wendy. When I went to him for the money, I even overheard him telling the doctor to remove Miss Stella's uterus." Lucas's mind reeled. He pulled the stunned Lucas Jr. away and frantically checked the date of the audio file. 3 days ago. Lucas staggered back, a dazed expression on his face. So, Stella had known everything for so long. So, she had been planning to leave him all along? And he thought he had been so clever in keeping it a secret. Lucas couldn't imagine how desperate Stella must have felt when she learned the truth. Why had things turned out this way? This was nothing like what he had envisioned. He had planned to give the company to Lucas Jr. to make up for his debt to Wendy and her son, and then spend the rest of his life taking care of Stella. A murmur rippled through the room. After the initial shock, the guests began to cast scornful glances. I knew it. Why would President Lucas give his company to an outsider? Turns out he's his illegitimate son. To harm the original wife's son for a low-class mistress and an illegitimate child. I don't believe Wendy didn't know. So shameless. I heard she went to the kid's funeral wearing red with her son, then shamelessly said she didn't have time to change, treating everyone like idiots. How long would it take to buy a black outfit from a roadside store? She just wanted to provoke Stella in front of everyone. Getting away with murder and acting innocent, doesn't she fear retribution? The voices grew louder, and Wendy's face grew paler. Her eyes welled up with tears as she looked at Lucas. Lucas, they're framing me. Please say something for me. But Lucas, who had always protected her, was now like a lost soul, not even looking at her. He turned and strode towards the door, muttering to himself, Stella won't leave me. Nothing will happen to her. I have to find her. Lucas's mother suddenly appeared, blocking his path. She looked at him with displeasure. Where are you going? I've heard everything. That unlucky woman is dead. That pathetic waste of space. I never liked her anyway. Good riddance. It's perfect. Lucas Jr. is your own son, and I like him very much. You might as well just marry Wendy and her son. Lucas was stunned. Mom, what are you talking about? Wendy has her own husband. Why would I marry her? Didn't Wendy tell you? She never got married. She had her reasons for going abroad back then. It's been so many years. She raised such a big son for you. Forget about the past and marry her. Wendy shyly took Lucas's hand. Lucas, I'd endure any hardship for you. Stella doesn't deserve you. She can't even give you children. We're the perfect match. Now that she's dead, we can. Unexpectedly, Lucas flung her hand away, looking at her coldly. Hardship? What hardship have you endured? Over the years, I've spent several times more time with you than Stella has, and the gifts I've given you, the money I've given you, are things Stella has never received. But she never complained, not once. Because of you, Stella lost her child and can never have another. You don't even feel guilty, so why do you say she doesn't deserve me? The one who has truly been wronged is Stella. What hardship have you endured? Wendy, what was between us is in the past. Whether you're married or not, it has nothing to do with me, because I have a clear conscience towards you. Stella is my wife, and she won't die. Also, I never knew you'd raise Tommy Jr. into such a spoiled, good-for-nothing brat. The stock transfer is off. Don't let me hear you say a single bad thing about Stella again, or don't blame me for turning ruthless. He then looked at his mother, a hint of threat in his voice. Mom, you're getting old. Just play your poker and don't interfere in my affairs, unless you want to experience what it's like to receive only the minimum state pension each month. With that, Lucas stormed out of the hotel without a backward glance. Lucas rushed home like a madman, only to collapse to the floor at the sight before him. Stella had cleared out all of her and Tommy's belongings, not wanting to leave him with a single memento. Only a small note remained on the table, with Tommy's birthday wish. Lucas remembered how Tommy had timidly asked him that day, Dad, can I have a birthday present this year? His mind had been filled with Wendy and Lucas Jr., and he had thought Tommy was too young and ambitious. He had been angry and had walked away without even listening to what his son wanted to say. So, Tommy's wish was so simple, so humble. He never knew that the child loved him so much, even though he had never given him a smile. In contrast, Lucas Jr. had only ever asked him for money and cars. Lucas hung his head in despair, slapping himself hard. What had he done? The once successful businessman looked so pathetic. His assistant, looking sympathetic, said softly, Mr. Lucas, I just checked. The rescue team hasn't found Mrs. Lucas yet. Falling into the sea from that height, and after so much time, Mrs. Lucas may He was cut off by Lucas, his eyes red. No! Stella won't die. We promise to be together forever. She won't leave me. But would she really not? Lucas remembered when they first got married, the company was in crisis, and partners were canceling their contracts. He was so busy that he practically lived at the company. Stella, in order to help him maintain the partnerships, ran around everywhere, often being turned away. In the dead of winter, she stood outside their doors all night, holding gift boxes, until they agreed to see her. She saved the partnership, but she collapsed on the way home and developed a chronic illness that made it difficult for her to get pregnant. Lucas, who rushed to the hospital after receiving the news, saw Stella's pale face and felt immense guilt. He cried and apologized to her. But Stella hugged him and smiled. It's nothing. We're a couple. We should go through thick and thin together. But Lucas, if you ever betray me, then I will leave you completely and never look back. He had already known about Lucas Jr.'s existence and had been terrified, vowing to keep it a secret forever. But Stella had found out after all. The assistant paused and placed his laptop in front of Lucas. Mr. Lucas, the cemetery called and said Mrs. Lucas had taken away the young master's urn the day before yesterday. I thought it was strange, so I looked into some things. I think you need to see this. So Lucas saw everything that had happened on the day of Tommy's funeral. His heart ached so much that he couldn't breathe. He didn't know that Stella had suffered so much. And when she needed him the most, he was with Wendy, and Stella had seen it. Afterwards, he had listened to Wendy's side of the story and had joined her in bullying Stella. At the same time, the assistant had tracked down the chat history between Wendy and Stella. After reading it, Lucas was silent for a long time, but he seemed to have aged 10 years. After a long while, he said in a hoarse voice, "Release a statement, severing my relationship with my mother, and stating that Lucas Jr. has no connection to the Lucas family. Sue anyone who dares to spread rumors. From now on, stop all financial support to Wendy and her son. Also, find someone to take back all the assets that were previously given. If Wendy refuses to return them, use any means necessary, crippled or dead, it doesn't matter. She forced Stella to leave me, and she will pay the price." The assistant was shocked. In this way, Lucas Jr. would become a bastard without a father. After the assistant left, the doctor suddenly called. "Mr. Lucas, how is Mrs. Lucas? S wound healing? Remember to go to the hospital for regular checkups. She won't be going." "What?" Lucas's voice choked. Stella found out the truth about Tommy's death and the surgery. She wanted to leave me, but the plane crashed. The doctor was silent for a moment, then sighed. "Mr. Lucas, there's something I haven't told you yet. When we performed the surgery on Mrs. Lucas that day, she was bleeding from the corner of her mouth. When I examined her, I found that her teeth were broken. I thought it was the other guy who did it, but from what you're saying, she must be immune to anesthesia and didn't want you to find out that she had heard everything. She bit her own teeth off. I can't imagine how much pain she was in." Lucas covered his face in agony. "Stop it, please stop. Please don't remind me of how much of a beast I was, and how much I lost." The doctor refused to stop. "Mr. Lucas, if the rescue team doesn't have any news, it's a good thing. I think someone as strong as Mrs. Lucas wouldn't die so easily. But I'm also sure that whether she's dead or alive, she will never forgive you." After hanging up the phone, Lucas seemed to have completely lost his soul, but tears kept flowing from his eyes. After a long while, he stared blankly out the window, muttering, "Yes, Stella, how could someone as strong as you die so easily? But where are you?" At that time, I had already landed in the UK and joined my best friend's company. My best friend's family had always been in the underground business. In recent years, they wanted to launder their money and established a jewelry company. She was overjoyed when she heard that I was willing to help. I had her help me stage the plane crash. At the same time, I asked her to use her connections in China to help me find the assailant and record the audio. After burying Tommy properly, I began to devote all my energy to work. Only in this way could I forget everything that had happened in the past as possible. I didn't deliberately pay attention to the news in China, but the trending topics were too eye-catching. Lucas had severed ties with his mother, only giving her the minimum living allowance each month, and refusing her requests to meet. He had taken back everything he had given to Wendy and had firmly denied that Lucas Jr. was his son. Lucas Jr. had been spoiled rotten, and his living standards had suddenly dropped. He had even broken into a house to rob it and had been turned over to the police. The reason Wendy had given birth to Lucas Jr. in the first place was to get money from Lucas continuously. Now that her dreams had been shattered, she had not worked for many years and had no skills. Without Lucas as a source of income, she had chosen to sell her body. Unfortunately, she was no longer young, and her legs had been broken by debt collectors. Her income was meager. Once, she had a disagreement with a client over the price and was stabbed to death in bed. In addition to jewelry appraisal, I also developed a strong interest in jewelry design. My best friend fully supported my choice and actively introduced me to several big names in the jewelry design industry to teach me how to design jewelry. In less than a month, I designed a necklace with the theme of maternal love, called Angel. In every mother's heart, their children are angels. My best friend entered my angel in a jewelry exhibition. I didn't think anyone would buy it. But one day, I received a message that someone had bought Angel for 10 times the price, just wanting to meet the designer. That's how I saw Lucas again. In just 6 months, he had aged so much. His once black hair was even streaked with silver. Seeing him, I frowned subconsciously and turned to leave. Stella, wait! I turned my head and looked at him indifferently. Lucas, you should know that the person I want to see the least in this life is you. Disappointment washed over Lucas's eyes. He nodded awkwardly. I understand. I saw Tommy's birthday wish. I know I've made an unforgivable mistake. I just wanted to see you, just to make sure you're still alive. That's enough for me. Stella, are you doing well? I laughed sarcastically. Without President Lucas around to harm me, of course I'm doing well. If you never show up again, I'll be even better. Lucas's face turned ashen. He couldn't speak for a long time. After a moment, he forced a bitter smile. I knew you would say that, but I was always unwilling to give up. I always thought I had a chance. But when I saw the look in your eyes, I knew I had lost you forever. Stella, don't worry. I'll never bother you again. You plucked out your own feathers for me and worked hard for more than 10 years. I'm sorry for you and Tommy. I will give you and your son an explanation. From now on, please fly freely. I will always bless you. With that, he staggered away. Only a patch of dampness remained where he had stood. A week later, a huge sum of money was deposited into my account. At the same time, the news of Lucas turning himself in was trending in China. The man who had pretended to be mentally ill was also imprisoned. A few days later, the news of Lucas's suicide in prison came. He was holding the angel necklace tightly in his hand when he died. No one knows how he got the necklace in, but it doesn't matter anymore. Upon receiving the news, I gently caressed Tommy's picture. My angel could finally rest in peace. The end.